why is Russia, and this is a sincere question, at the center of the liberal mind? If you consider all the countries around the world that are murdering minority groups within their borders, invading other countries, posing a nuclear threat to our country, exporting terror, Russia is not even close to the top of the list of threats to the United States. And yet, in the view of liberals, it's all about Russia. I mean, I honestly think it's a psychiatric disorder, but maybe there's another explanation.
Well, unless you can include Donald Trump as the liberal mind, he's the one who's talking about bringing Russia back into the G7. He's the one who's talking about
why wouldn't you? But why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Because Russia violated human rights abroad? Is that what you're saying? Like, why wouldn't? When he's meeting with the president of North Korea, speaking of human rights violations, who maintains gulags where hundreds of thousands of families languish and die, but we're meeting with him anyway. Why wouldn't you want to meet with your opponents, with your adversaries? Liberals always used to argue that. And now bringing Russia into the G7 is like immoral for some reason? I'm totally confused.
Well, remember, it used to be the G8. Russia was in it until it attacked another country.
Until recently.
Right, until it basically took over territory of another country. Again, I know you don't care who's a Republican senator or
around the world every day.
Well, the fact is, we don't honor that. We basically, I think,
really, because
the Western world,
China invaded Tibet. China is rounding up Muslims right now and putting them in concentration camps. But we put them into the WTO and allowed them to destroy our economy.
Right.
Half the population of Washington, D.C. takes money from them. As you know, every think tank, every lobbying organization, all take money from the Communist government of China, which is invading its neighbors, oppressing minority groups, and nobody says anything about it, and spying on us. Why do you think that is? Why does nobody say anything? It's kind of weird, isn't it?
I think China should be called out for every transgression that it engages in. It just seems weird.
So how about anyone in D.C. taking Chinese money? Should they be indicted? I mean, don't you think? I mean, given what they're doing?
You asked what was weird and what was in the liberal mind, and all I'm saying is for Donald Trump to stand up time after time after time for Russia seems bizarre, unexplainable, but for the fact that there's something.
I mean, honestly, who cares? By the way, you're single-handedly making me pro-Russia. I was ambivalent on the subject at first, and now I'm like, they must be pretty great if the left hates them this much. I'm trying not to let myself get on that path.
I don't think it's just the left.
No, it's a holdover. Low IQ Republicans in D.C. feel the same way. I'm aware of that. But it's just so disconnected from the reality of the modern world, where Russia, again, is not even in the top tier of threats to the United States. It's almost as if liberals are intentionally moving attention away from the real threats to an irrelevant place like Russia.
Here's a real threat.
Could that be?
Here's a real threat. Undermining the sanctity of our democracy is a very real threat. And the Republicans and Democrats on the Senate Intelligence Committee, well, the Senate Intelligence Committee, in a bipartisan way, said the Russians meddled to help Trump. That is a absolute blow to our democracy, whether you like it or not.
Let me ask you, do you think, sincerely, do you think Russia did more to undermine the legitimacy of our elections than those politicians who've argued against voter ID laws, which make it impossible to detect voter fraud, which is widespread, and they systematically abet voter fraud? So do you think Russia, Vladimir Putin, or the ACLU has further undermined the sanctity of our elections?
So I think if you had a rank order between Russia, Comey, voter suppression, I think those three are probably pretty high on the list of what tilted the election in Trump's way, since you're asking me. Yes, that's what I think happened. And I think, absolutely, as I said to you before, there wouldn't be billions of dollars spent on ads on Fox News if somebody out there didn't think that that would influence people's opinions. And that's exactly what the Russians did, reaching through Facebook 126 million, only 135
people
million
never
voted.
would. I think you're onto something here. People never would have voted for Trump unless Vladimir Putin told them to.